Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and I'm an attorney that assists physician assistants with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm talking about physician assistant evergreen contracts. So, what does it mean? And basically, it's the term of how long the contract lasts, and then some things to think about regarding what is best for your contract. So, when you sign a contract, it'll have a whole bunch of things. One of the most important things is the length of the contract, and then how to terminate the contract. How to terminate it is more important than the length, and I'll explain why. You could sign a contract and it's a 1-year contract that automatically renews for 1-year periods, or a 2 or 3-year contract that automatically renews for 1-year periods. The length of the contract generally doesn't matter at all, because you're going to have without cause termination. And what that means is either party can terminate the contract at any time for any reason with a certain amount of notice to the other party. Most of the time in a PA contract, and for all healthcare that, for that matters, NPs, physicians, dentists, veterinarians, it's generally somewhere between 60 to 90 days. So if you wanted to leave, it doesn't matter how long the term of your contract is, you can still get out of it with 60 days notice to the other party. And an evergreen contract, which is much more common now than it used to be, simply means there is no term. It just kind of, the contract goes on forever until terminated by either party, using that without cause termination. Or I guess there could be a for cause termination if someone breaches the contract. Now, should you be concerned if you have an evergreen contract versus a contract with the term? No. The only time that the term matters is if there's some kind of bonus repayment tied to it. And let me give you an example. So if you move into a job, starting bonuses, signing bonuses, whatever your commencement bonuses, whatever, it's the same thing. They give you an amount of money, usually paid out in your first pay period after you begin providing care. Or perhaps they're giving you a relocation allowance if you are moving specifically for that job. Most of those bonuses will be have some kind of attachment that says if you leave before a certain period of time, you have to pay back some kind of amount, either the full amount or a prorated amount. Let me give you an example. So let's say you have a $10,000 signing bonus. It'll say you must stay for 2 years, or if you don't stay for 2 years, you have to pay the entire $10,000 signing bonus back to us. Most of the time, if an organization has some kind of bonuses associated with the contract, they'll tie that repayment to the initial term of the agreement. So if it's a 1-year contract, usually it would say you have to stay for a year. If it's a 2-year contract, you got to stay for 2 years or have to repay the amount. If it's 3-year contract, same thing. So when it's an evergreen contract and it just kind of continues on, there's no kind of natural breaking point there. So that's something that you can certainly negotiate. So if let's say it's an evergreen contract and then they say it's a 3-year commitment, or you have to repay these bonuses, well, you can negotiate that down from 3 years to 2 years or 1 year. And then you also want that bonus repayment to be prorated. You don't want an all or nothing repayment, meaning, let's say it's a 3-year repayment. If you don't stay for 3 years, you have to pay the entire amount back. You want monthly forgiveness. So if it's once again, a 3-year term, to repay, and you stay 30 months, then you want it to be monthly, because then you only have to pay back, you've paid 30 out of 36 months, and then you'd only owe 6 months of the prorated amount of whatever the bonus was for you. So some people will say, well, I want it to be a 1-year contract in case I want to leave, or, oh, I'd like the security of a 3-year contract. It doesn't matter. If you can give without cause notice, which you should have the ability to do in any contract that you sign, you absolutely do not want to sign a contract where you are in a fixed period of time. You want the ability to leave at any time. I mean, you could start somewhere and maybe you think there's some kind of like billing fraud going on. or you think they're practicing unsafely, or they're treating you poorly, or the patient load or expectation is just like crazy, you want to get out of the contract. So it does not matter if it's a year or 2 year or 3 year initial term, if you can get out of the contract with 60 to 90 days notice, which you absolutely should. So in that scenario, an Evergreen contract is great because the term honestly doesn't matter at all. All right, that's a little bit about physician assistant Evergreen contracts. If you have any questions about your employment agreement or independent contractor agreement, feel free to contact my law firm at the information listed below in the description. And I appreciate you watching the video. All right, thanks. Take care.